What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if we just got another hint of Spyro the Dragon, of course, returning. Now, this is a couple months old in terms of the investment firm that we're talking about, but what specifically we're going to talk about in this video is actually a little bit new. So, in terms of the investment firm itself, it's called Double Black Capital. Now, I've never heard of them before, but turns out they fund, and I don't know if it's full-on funding or just partially. I think it's more partially than anything. They got a lot of studios, or they're a part of a lot of studios. Deck 9, might have heard of them. Of course, Life is Strange. New Age Life is Strange. Ilphonic. I mean, they do quite a few different... I think Embracer Group is on here, so that's just fantastic. Maybe not the greatest portfolio, but they do have a portfolio that is probably 20-plus publishers strong. Now, okay, here's the deal. When you look at these different studios, they give the name of the studio, and they give the type of game either that they're associated with or that they're currently making. I'm going to assume it's maybe a mixture of both, but probably leaning towards what they are currently making, and I'll explain why. I mean, you look at Deck 9, interactive stories. You look at Ilphonic, horror, right? Now, that's really what they've always made, so that doesn't necessarily prove the point, but the big story in terms of Spyro is Toys for Bob is on the list, third from last, and it's under adventure. So that's the description, of it. Now, why I would lean more towards what they're doing now versus what they've always been known to do is I would classify Crash Bandicoot more as a platformer. It doesn't have to be like a pure platformer, and definitely, I mean, if you look at like Crash Team Rumble, I would not consider that a platform. I think you could probably come up with a couple other phrases, before you get to platformer with that. Even Team Racing or any kind of, racing type thing, you're not going to call that a platformer, but a pure Crash Bandicoot game, you're going to probably consider to be a platformer first, and if you're going to give a one-word description or genre that it's a part of, you're going to say that. If you're making Spyro, and this really, I mean, it's the long and short of it, is Toys for Bob has been rumored to make a Spyro game or to be making a Spyro game for a long, long time, right? What else could they really be making? I don't really know too many of the different suggestions that maybe people come up with. I've always kind of just singled in on Spyro. Like, it's got to be Spyro. At least that's what my heart says. If it's anything else, though, I do think classifying it as an adventure game really does throw out a lot of those possibilities. Like, adventure is probably more of the collectathon type, kind of mini worlds, and you're having an adventure, right? Going around doing whatever, again, versus Crash and just other games in that same ilk being platform-based. Spyro, you wouldn't really call that. So that's kind of my logic behind it. It technically, to me, it really only wipes out Crash, and you could think, all right, well, Toys for Bob, historically Crash, it seems like all signs point to Spyro. They're working with Xbox on it. I saw a post on, I think, the Gaming Leaks and Rumors Reddit, that they never said that it was like an exclusive franchise that Xbox had. I think that might be true, but the way that it was always phrased is like, I don't think Toys for Bob can make the game that they're making without Xbox/Microsoft's help. That's how I've always looked at it. Maybe that's not like the official wording that they've said, but they're working with Xbox. I've always assumed, and I think the language has always pointed, that Xbox owns one of the, properties that they're doing it on. And I do think that also eliminates quite a few of them. Like, you do have like Banjo-Kazooie, maybe you count that, and that's maybe more adventure than platformer, so maybe that would still be in the running. But I think you think about I would say you think about the big two in this kind of genre, even though I guess they are different genres, but in a bigger genre, Crash and Spyro, right? That's what Activision, that's what, Xbox has. If you're going to eliminate one because of this, you'd be eliminating Crash and you'd be left with Spyro. Technically, there's other ones, and I can understand that, but I think with all the signs we've already had and then classifying it as an adventure game, I just feel like it's leaning more towards Spyro. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.